let you go first. Oh, wait a minute. Your mom just said about second and third.
She wants me to have second and third. Well, does she want me to have second? Now we just don't know whose side she's on. She could still want you to have second and third.
I've been very kind to her.
Yeah.
I've been very kind to her over the years. True. I know you've been kind. Have I been kind to her? I don't know.
I would suggest that probably ultimately over the long haul, you've thrown up on her a lot less than I have. Now, it's been a long time, but certainly.
It's been months. It's been months since you've done that. At least 2 to my recollection, unless you saw her recently. I don't know. I can't really speculate how long it's been. All right. So I will go first. Thank you, Justin.
Right. Justin comes in. I think that's right.
I don't want to go first.
There you go. They doubled down. It's got to be you. You've got the first pick in the Colorado Rockies home run hitter draft of 2020. This is important business. Don't mess this up.
Now the votes are coming in. Well, I see it like this. The Colorado Rockies have only one member of their organization, and that includes coaches. I threw the names Dwight Evans, Don Zimmer out there, who are great baseball lifers, but they're not in the Hall of Fame. There is only one man that is in the Baseball Hall of Fame, or will be, as a Colorado Rocky. However, he is not the greatest home run hitter in franchise history. There is only one man, and that man is a Mr. Todd Helton. 369 home runs. He's had 2 40-plus home run seasons. I believe he also has the record for most home runs in a single season. Was that 49?
I believe that's correct.
And I think it's, again, this will be debatable and we can go back and forth. But if I'm first up on the list, I have got to go with the Todd father, Todd Helton, your first overall pick. Drew, what are your thoughts?
That's a great pick. It's really difficult to argue with this pick in a lot of ways. Maybe a little bit of a surprise for some people. I think you did a little bit of bait and switch. Some people might have gone with Walker there with the first pick, thinking that because of the Hall of Fame stuff. You went with the guy who's hit the most home runs. It's arguable whether or not he's the most prolific home run hitter. But I think the other big thing you get with Helton is the consistency of the at-bat, right? So whatever the competition is, there's also going to be, guys tire out after hitting a certain number of home runs. You can miss-hit the ball in a home run derby atmosphere, and you're going to get fewer of those. So while Helton's not going to hit as many 450-foot home runs where we all go, ooh, wow, like the name of the game is hit the ball over the wall. And bat manipulation is something this guy is remarkable at. So I think it's a very, very solid pick.
And I know, both Helton and Walker, of course, left-handed hitters, and there are a lot more ballparks that do favor left-handed hitters. So that's, I think, a key element that you'd have to have either of those two guys there, because they've got that swing. There's a lot of short porches out to right field, no two ways about it, and it's really a no-brainer when it comes to those guys. So I'm very pleased to make Todd Helton that first overall pick, the Todd father, guy that I did get to see. I was there at the his second to last game in 2013.
Look at that baby face.
Yeah, finished his career with a home run off of Jake Peavy. A fun little trivia question: who served up a meatball down the middle of the pipe? There, middle of the pike. And that would be his buddy Jake Peavy, so to speak. So, when you think of home runs, you think of Todd Helton. And so we can go on one angle and talk about Walker being in the Hall of Fame. Only one guy's had their number retired. So if we're doing Rockies Home Run Derby, number 17, the man who's up there right next to number 42, Jackie Robinson. Oh, I love my pick even more that I think about it.
Oh, Mr.
Look at that. He's hitting them off of left-handed pitchers as well.
Ooh, towering shot. Young Todd before the beard still weirds me out, even though he probably existed just as long as beard. It's just I so think of him with the beard.
Yeah, that's true, and he still has it now too, for the most part. That ridiculously thick, almost Homer Simpson-esque goatee.
Yeah, right.
Like I just feel like it's fur. Like at a certain point when you have facial hair, it leaps from it's facial hair to it's just a big furry muff thing on his face. And Yeah, he transitioned well into adulthood in that way, but still, this video we're watching now is all of his 7 walk-off home runs, and so far all of these have been at Coors Field, believe it or not. So,
Yeah, a couple of them
well,
against lefties.
as I say this I realize that's how walk-off home runs work, Patrick. They happen at home. I'm like, hey, fun fact, have you noticed? I'm going to put myself on mute because I know that's what Kale would have done, and I'm going to have some more Strava because it has not kicked in yet for me yet. I only have 2 sips.
I'm going to hit into the strawberry sky here from the Breck Brew. Yes, good. And I didn't even catch it. Flew right by me. So, correct. Hit and walk off home runs at home. Getting Looper there. Brad, is that right? Brad Looper?
Braden Looper.
I know.
Loop the Poop, a very, very short time Mets closer. Again, as I've mentioned before, many friends and family that are Mets fans. He blew the save on opening day. I want to say maybe it was 2005 against Cincinnati, where it was like, hey, they're gonna get a W opening day. No, and Loop the Poop, Braden Looper, man, coughed up a big one.
There's his most famous walk-off, of course,
Dodgers.
against Keishi Saito, who had not blown a save all year. Look at how excited those boys are, Patrick. And remember, they've got 16 more games to win or something like that. We've talked a lot about how that team believed in themselves so much, but look at Helton. We had never seen that emotion from him. Never until that moment.
And that's not a celebration you see from a team that doesn't know that they're awesome. Like, you can do that and just say, like, anytime you win a championship, you see guys celebrating and they're going bonkers. Yeah, well, they didn't win the World Series here in this, but they went bonkers because they go, hey, we deserve this. Like, this is our right. This is our place. We've won the game. We are the best right now, and we're going to continue to be that best. And that was a big indicator that you knew 2007 was going to end really well. This one is off Jesse Chavez.
I was at that game. I was sitting in the rock pile for that one, watching that one fly out.
I feel like the longer we watch this, the further cemented it is that my team is going to win this, because I got Todd Helton, and he's going to do. All you need is one guy, right? If we're talking about home run derby, it's the one guy who wins it. That's it. I mean, yeah, maybe we can have a team award for most overall homers by the team, and we can figure out a point system. But you're making me feel real good. The longer that you're gawking at this, I'm feeling really good.
I'll tell you what, these are beautiful, and I have never in my life found myself in a position where I've got to argue against Todd Helton. So look how excited. Look at the Cleveland fan who caught that walk-off between Colorado and Arizona hanging out. And I don't know why he's so excited in this one, because I see Michael Kadire in the picture, which means it was 13 or 14, so that team wasn't any good. I don't know what they're so happy for. Probably just for him. Was that maybe his last game at Coors or something like that? Was that like a –
It was 13.
Yeah,
Chris
it had
Nelson,
to have been one of his final games, because there was no reason for them to be happy about that other than for him. So.
It's been a while since I've seen this. I've never seen a guy come to home plate in that fashion. Like, you go and you kind of stop on home plate. Maybe you go past it. He dove in like he was jumping into a mosh pit. I've never seen that. That definitely should be something guys do more of. Hey, we're just going to stand around home plate. You dive your body. We're going to support you, and hopefully you do touch home plate at some point. Who knows? Maybe they've gotten away with it. Maybe Todd Helton has actually ruined that kind of a celebration where, you've got half the team touches home plate before Todd Helton does, and they just kind of carry him over in a wave of people like he's crowd surfing.
All right. I got to get back in this game. It's time for me to take some big swings, and I took a slightly different approach to this. So I will say, Will's got it. I knew Will was here. Will, I was thinking about earlier today when you were the Lodo Magic Man back in our days at Purple Row, thinking about, because I saw your tweet about Kim. I don't know how you say her last name. I'm terribly sorry. But you and I had both been calling for the Rockies to get interested in her back in 2014. Now the Marlins made the big move and do it. You got to hang around for tomorrow. We got a special podcast coming everybody's way, where the women of DNVR, who really run the show, who without which we would all just be talking into a void, are going to be talking about that and what a big moment this is for women in sports and particularly in baseball. Obviously, you know, Michaela Perkins and Allie Monroy from all the work that they do. They're a little more out in front of the camera. You might not know Lindsay Sauer as much. She's our sales director here at DNVR, but she is phenomenal. You guys are going to love that. And they're going to have members of the Denver Women's Sports Collective along for that conversation. It's really going to be fantastic. So, yes, Will, we are old. We have been calling for her to be a GM in baseball for more than half a decade, and it has happened now. So we're all very excited about that. All right, let me take some big swings here, brought to you by Breckenridge Brewery. I'm going to get back into this thing because my approach to this, I will say, I did not have Helton at number one on my board, so I get to take the guy who was number one on my board, the guy who I think has the best raw power in Colorado Rockies history. A guy who, if you can't throw him a well-located slider away, and you can't make sure that it's not a mistake, and you just got to stand there and see how far he can hit it, I'm taking the big Venezuelan first baseman, Andres Galaraga. Now, again, the point of a home run derby is not to hit the ball as far as it can possibly go, but one, that can be a tiebreaker in some of them sometimes. So I want, with Galaraga on my team, I know that if it comes down to any kind of tiebreaker about which one went the farthest, I've got a great shot at it because he is one of the very few people in the history of baseball who's hit a ball over 530 feet that we've actually got on tape. But for me, again, now he wasn't always the most prolific home run hitter. There's more strikeout in his game, but that's strikeouts against guys who are trying to strike him out, like sliders and curveballs and changeups and stuff. We're throwing Andres Galaraga fastballs he can hit. In my estimation, prime Galaraga or prime Rockies Galaraga. Look at how different that stance was, by the way, confirming what Knudsen told us the other day. In St. Louis, he was way more crouched down. He almost looked like Jeff Bagwell or something. More upright in the next few that we're going to see out in Colorado, but the dude could mash.
I'm a little surprised you went this early on Galaraga. I wouldn't have not. I was my second pick. I didn't mind having both Helton and Galaraga as a home run derby contestants. I think where you made a really good call there is the fatigue. That fatigue factor that when you're in a home run derby, you just need a thick boy. And let me tell you, Andres Galaraga, he was cat-like. He was a cat, as we saw them stretching, making some great plays. But he was a thick cat, a big cat, as they used to say back when we didn't have proper, vocabulary like we do today. He was a thick cat.
He was a thick
no
cat.
doubt about it. And this
is his 3 home run game before Story, by the way. Talking about the stamina to be able to do it. We all remember Story's 3 home run game, but this was one that the big cat had. We saw those first 2. This will be the 3rd one of the 3. The next we're going to see, and wha-bam, the longest of the 3. That's a double-decker shot. Not the longest of Galaraga's career, but that one was nearly 500 feet right there.
Yeah, and the fact that he did it, even consistently after his time in Colorado, and we really only want to look at what he did while in Denver. Again, I think just speaks to his abilities all the way around, because
here's the one that went 535 feet
in Miami at Joe Robbie Stadium, Pro Player Stadium, Land Shark Stadium. It's had a million different names, different
ugly
iterations.
As ass stadium.
Yeah, pretty much. And Galaraga is right up there with Todd Helton, tied for second, essentially, with 2 40-plus home run seasons. And he wasn't in Colorado even, a third of the time. He was there, 33% of the length of time that Todd Helton essentially was in Colorado. So he also added 2 more seasons at 35 or more home runs. So, in a way, if there was no Todd Helton, we would probably talk about Andres Galaraga about 6 times as much as we do.
Totally.
Now. Even the fact that, he was in Montreal. Yeah, he was in Atlanta here and there. Spent a season in St. Louis. But you know what? Man, when he was with Colorado, let's talk about that era.
He's 42 years old. He hit one in San Francisco off the Coke bottle out there. Goodness gracious! All right, I feel good about that pick, even
pick.
though I think it would have been maybe not a lot of people's first notion when you think about the raw power there. And then I will, with my number 3, go with the chalk, go with who Henry thought was going to be number 1. Take the Hall of Famer. Give me a righty-lefty combination. Make sure that I've got the best player in Rockies history on my side. And again, there might be a little more mishit in the bat of Galaraga. There's a little more all-or-nothing swing there. And you've got Todd Helton, who's going to get the barrel to the baseball every single time if someone's letting him, right? So I need Larry Walker as a counterbalance to that, the closest thing to the bat manipulation there. I'm going to take the lefty, the Hall of Famer. The raker, though, really, he was as much a hit for average guy. He could launch him, to be sure. Not the raw power that you'd necessarily associate with a home run derby type of guy. But, of course, we know he could launch him as well as just about anybody.
We could talk about Larry Walker all day, and in fact, we have many days, and we will probably continue to do it when he gets enshrined. No doubt, there will be more of those days, full days.
Tom Glavin, look, I'm getting Tom Glavin.
two hockey players, two hockey guys, because Tom Glavin was drafted. Did you know by the L.A. Kings? Yes, one of the few, if not only, players to be drafted in MLB and the NHL, and we know Larry Walker's proclivity for playing the game on ice. But you put me in a predicament, and I got some time. I'm going to buy myself some time before I start thinking about my next pick. But you've got two Blake Street Bombers.
That's right.
Now, had I gone Larry Walker, I would have felt a little bit better. I could have done anything I wanted with my next pick. But as it were, I mean, you've got two Bombers, Andres Galaraga, Larry Walker. Larry Walker, incidentally, second all-time on the Rockies home run list, at least for now. And he's up there at 15.8 at-bats per home run. So he had one of the better all-time rates in Rockies history, along with Galaraga, who's actually even better than that. So Walker only 140 season, but 3 seasons of 35 to 39 home runs, so overall 4 seasons at 35 plus. He's all Hall of Fame. What else can you say?
Right. All right, Patrick, before you, speaking about buying some time, because you needed to buy a little time, I'm going to buy you a little extra time, and I'm going to buy the people out there a little extra money. Because right now we got to take a little bit of a time to appreciate our friends over at the DraftKings Sportsbook. They're making sports a lot more fun, and they're putting a little bit of extra cash into your wallet. It really is a great way, like I said, to just add to your sports watching experience, get a little bit of skin in the game, as it were. I always enjoy just throwing a few bucks down on a prop bet here or there. Who's going to win or lose a game can, some people are into that. I feel like those are in the hands of the gods. But I've always felt like I've had the ability to say, this guy's hot. He's ready to hit a home run today. Or this guy's going to score a touchdown today. This guy's going to do whatever. So if that's whichever one of those things you feel most comfortable with, whether you're a baseball person, you're getting into the sports that are going on right now, the football going on, and that is actually a great place to be. Actually, no matter what you want to bet on right now, it's a great place to be, because we've got the promo code DNVR, which gives you a sign-up bonus of up to $1,000 when you sign up to use the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app. Again, you can bet on just about anything. Our rugby friends, football, there's already stuff up for next baseball season. So go there, download it today. Again, use that promo code DNVR when you sign up to get a bonus of up to $1,000. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Bonus comprised of first deposit bonus. Deposit bonus requires 25 by playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
With
all right,
the
you're on the
fourth
clock.
Pick in the Rockies home run derby draft, Team Lions selects the Sandblaster, Mr. Nolan Arenado.
It's a good pick.
Nolan, of course, we know how prolific of a home run hitter he is. A guy who has even said to us I wish I had Trevor Story's power.
Right.
So this isn't a guy that we're talking about that
You're
has
not going raw
prodigious
power team. I love this. You're just getting the ball over the wall with your team, and I love your strategy here. You don't care about 450-foot home runs at all. You're going to take Nolan hitting them at 405 feet every time. That's brilliant.
I'm trying to sell some merchandise for my home run derby team. Truth be told,
Straight.
I'm more concerned about
Straight
that.
up.
I think I got an ace up my sleeve, that could win the competition. All it takes is that one guy. So maybe I'm keeping it simple. Maybe I'm going with a guy who's fourth right now in Rockies home runs at 235. He'll pass third place with 5 home runs, and in fact, with a fairly lengthy regular season, I imagine of, anywhere from 120 to 140 games, if not the full 162, with another 24 home runs, he'll be second. He'll have passed Larry Walker. His rates are really good, 17 and a half at-bats per home run. He already has 3 40-plus home run seasons, tied for most. He's got 2 seasons in that 35 to 39 range. So the player with the most 35 plus seasons as a Rocky is Nolan Arenado. Now, how's that for consistent?
That's and it's. I'm so glad you brought that up because I feel like we don't think of him that way. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think of him that way. At least as a guy who gets a hold of him, you go, "Holy crap, he got a hold of that one!" Like he said, every year he's hitting between 35 and 42 home runs, and that's remarkable consistency. And yeah, that's a great pick, man. I was thinking maybe because of that, you might overlook him. I might be able to steal him in a little bit of a later round. Because again, if you were to pile up, all these guys, the distance of their home runs, I think Nolan's going to be further down the list than a lot of these guys. But it's not about that. He, like you said, he's told us point blank to our face, I got to try to hit a home run. There are a few other things about his career, like he doesn't hit them the other way. He's got single digit in his career, I think. If not single digit, I can promise you he's got under 20 of the however a couple hundred he's got in his career that have gone the other way. He doesn't hit opposite field home runs. So how is he hitting 40 every year? Like he hits home runs on the balls you can hit home runs on. Yeah.
And what is a home run derby, right? I mean, it's precisely that. And we've seen him take batting practice. I think that's why this is a pick that I like even more than Helton. Think about what he does in batting practice. He's got those little mini home run derby contests against some of the younger guys with Dahl and Blackman, and when he hits balls that almost go on the concourse, he hits them deep in batting practice. And he's hitting more line drives in the games, but during BP when he wants to, he is hitting 5 in a row where boom gone, boom gone, and that's the skill that
he does that. Yeah. That's a good point. Bringing in BP was such a good move there.
My insider information. I
should have taken him. Oh, right.
Technically, I'm my own source for why that's a very, very good pick.
He does. He will play pepper with the concourse in BP, like he's taking out the garbage. Like he'll hit the 5th one in a row and turn around to somebody and ask, like, "Did my form look okay there?" And it's like, you just. What are you talking about, man?
And the timing of this clip too, on Father's Day in 2018, when he went and did 2017, when he knows that everything is right there for the taking. He's a homer away from the cycle. A home run wins it. So it's like he's going up there to do it. The pitcher's trying to get him out. He's not trying to actually throw him a strike at all. And yet he manages to do it.
It wasn't a strike. Right? Mark Melanson threw him a 2-seamer or a heavy sinker that broke 2 or 3 inches in off the plate, which again, to the point is like he can hit a home run. Anything that he can pull is potentially a home run. And in a home run derby, everything that his coach is throwing out there is something that he can pull. And so, man, that's a great pick. It's a great pick.
All right. Well, it's time.
Don't break my heart now.
Oh, Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you already get look. You've already got two Blake. You've already got two Blake Street bombers, and again, if I'm putting together a team of just great players, I'm gonna put this guy on it. But defense, there's been better guys, right? Hitting for average or putting the ball in play, there's been better guys. Strikeout percentage, maybe strike out more than you would like. But if we're talking about a home run derby, if we're talking about consistency, we are talking about Vinny Castilla. Gotta take Vinny Castilla with my third pick.
Good pick.
239 home runs. He sits in third place. He's just ahead of Arenado with 17.5 at-bats per home run. He's tied with Arenado with 3 40-plus home run seasons. He's got 4 at 35 or more. And I think he's a dude that we've even seen it. I don't think you were there for this one. RK came down for the game, and the Broncos did a home run derby thing. They were doing a fundraiser, which was hilarious because Emmanuel Sanders, after he was done, he was going up there and watching Spielborgs and Vinny take BP, and he was like a student of the game. And it's like, baseball's not your game, Emmanuel, but he was so focused on like, well, if I get into another derby, I've got to win this. He took this so seriously, and so did Vinny, because I think it would have been Dalton Reisner. It was Dalton against Vinny Castilla. They wanted to have a competition. Said, all right, the best of the Broncos versus a 50-year-old Vinny Castilla. And Vinny was still putting them out, just throwing his hands at the ball. And you just see the abilities that he had. There was anything that this man was born to do. Vinny Castilla was born to hit home runs.
Yeah. I was at a different Old Timers Day. I think it was when they were doing a 20-year anniversary of something, maybe it was the shorter anniversary of like the 07 team in 17. It must have been the 10. I think that's what it was. It was the 10-year anniversary of 07. And because Corey Sullivan was there and Fogger was there and those guys. And Castilla got out there. They did a little BP thing. And you're just like, dude, come on, man. Come on. And my mother with an important question. Yes, everyone gets to pick their own pitchers in a home run derby. So I think Vinny would take Darren Holmes because he apparently could still hit him off a homie, man.
I think Todd Helton, through the help of an interpreter and a translator, he might be able to fly Takashi Saito in from Japan. Hey Saito, look,
brutal.
First place, come on in. Preston Wilson is on my board. I'm not going to tell you where, AJ.
Rub it in there.
But I've got Preston Wilson on my board. We'll see.
No, you don't. All right. Those are very quality picks. Very, very quality picks. And now I've just got to, I think I
know who you're going to go with.
On my team theme.
I know who you're going with. Can I let's see if I'm right. Drew, for your third pick, because you're not just looking at career numbers, you're looking at some of the rate stats. You're looking at how the guy's primes, right?
You've seen my raw power thing.
I know what you're doing. That is why undoubtedly you're going to pick Mike Hampton, because when you think about players who at their position could launch a home run or two,
what do they say?
Really none better.
Whenever in pro wrestling, or I assume they do this in other fighting stuff, or whenever a guy's like 5'6", 190 pounds, but he's still a dope fighter, they say pound for pound, he's the best. They used to say that about like Allen Iverson, like pound for pound. Mike Hampton, pitcher for pitcher, pound for pound, was the best home run hitter, if you want to put it that way. No, sir. In fact, I've got to double up on Countryman for my third pick in this Colorado Rockies draft. I'm taking another Venezuelan.
Oh.
And I need another lefty, and I need the man with the exit velocity that leaves the ladies trembling. Of course, I'm talking about the little pony himself, Sir Carlos Gonzalez. Underrated as a power hitter. Again, a little more swing and miss in the game. Sure, just throw him a perfectly located slider at his back foot, he might spin himself into the ground like a top. But if he gets to choose his pitcher, and this actually, I may have had him one step back, but I get two in a row here. You sold me with the batting practice point that you made about Nolan Arenado, because of all the batting practices I've seen. And in third place behind the two people we've already talked about would be Mark Reynolds, by the way. Third place was Mark Reynolds. But number one for me was Carlos Gonzalez. He put on the best batting practice of anybody I've ever stood behind the cage and just watched plant balls into the second deck like he was just ordering pizza. Like it was remarkable what he could do with a ball that was just out there for him to hit. We know he's hit some monster blasts in his career, but some of them also. Cargo was, I think, the leader in club history, or certainly in my time of watching baseball, of the frozen rope home run, the low line drive, the one, my dad used to say you can hang your laundry on it, right? Like he'd hit that one out that would never get more than, it felt like 15 or 20 feet off the ground. This one in Cincinnati he hit. This was one of his longest ones that went almost out of the ballpark out there. But you'll see a few in this, if you've joined us for the live, where it feels like the ball never gets more than 15 or 20 feet off the ground and still gets over the wall, and it leaves the park in a matter of 2 or 3 seconds. And if you look at his exit velo numbers, when StatCast became a thing, like from 2015 on, I bet Cargo is 9 of the top 10 for the Rockies in that time. With Nolan and Trevor in there, again, guys who hit some home runs, and Charlie Blackman who hit some home runs, but nobody hit the ball harder in the last 15 years for the Colorado Rockies with regularity than Carlos Gonzalez.
And that swing is just kind of, patented for a home run derby. And as you said, those frozen ropes, how many home runs did he lose?
That one into the front row in Cleveland.
Yeah, not too many from the Bridich barrier. Like that was shorter time. But again, that the auxiliary scoreboard obviously probably took a couple away from him, and he plays somewhere else, gets a couple more of those home runs. He's in third place. He's just behind. In fact, he could even be ahead of Larry Walker for second all time,
right?
Because he's not that far back. Number 5 all time in Rockies history, and yeah, I mean his swing is really perfect for a home run derby, and that's a nickname too. I like that you said that you don't always hear. What was it, Lil Sebastian? I love
Tony.
that, AKA Lil Sebastian. That's
Sebastian.
fine too. I do like that one. That is not officially on his Baseball Reference page, but we need to petition. This is a busy off season for Rockies fans. They're writing Dick Monfort an email.
A lot of petition.
They're writing Sean Foreman of Baseball Reference saying, "Hey, we need a little pony in there for Cargo." That's such a good name. I love that. And man, I didn't think you were gonna go there, because when you said a fellow countryman, I did not look at Galaraga. I looked at Larry Walker. I thought you might have been stretching and going with Justin Morneau.
Morneau, that's an interesting pick. Okay.
He's still available. We got 4 picks left. Drew's got the 7th pick here coming up. I got 8, 9, and Drew's going to take the 10th and final. And
another opportunity for me to piss off current Rockies fans. Nothing. And on this same old talking point, I've made it before. This was honestly it was a toss up for me between this and another player at the same position. Do your own deductive reasoning, but I am taking Troy Tulowitzki at that spot. He's got again the raw power, big guy, big raw power, but less swing and miss than some other shortstops in franchise history that might have slightly more raw power in their bat. Tulo's going to make a connection a little more often. Don't have to worry about the injury thing. We're sending him out there for one day just to do a home run derby, so I can take that off the table, which is fantastic. And that really was, it really was, Patrick, the only blemish on that man's resume. When he took the field, he was, and I submit, I was actually thinking about this. He was Nolan Arenado if you took away the slumps and moved him into a slightly more important position. except for the injuries. That's what made the difference. But he was, you could count once out of every 6 days he would make a defensive play like you couldn't even believe, and he would hit. I guess the other thing, I shouldn't lie about this. He wasn't clutch. He wasn't clutch, but boy, could he hit home runs, and not just on mistakes, man. He'd take balls at his eyes and take them out. He'd hit them oppo like you see here. He had the raw, natural power of a Trevor Story, but with the contact ability of a Nolan Arenado. He regularly hit over 300 because of that. He's bigger than Story. I think he's a legit 6'4". Man, God, prime Tulo could absolutely smash the baseball.
Yeah, he hit basically 20 or more home runs every season he was healthy. And by healthy, I mean 126 games in 2013 and 91 games in 2014. Still managed to get 21 home runs. It makes you shake your head and go, wow, he hits a lot when he's healthy. But at the same time, 91 games is a healthy season for him? Kinda. At times. Never hit more than 32, but again was always consistent in that, where 21 to 32 home runs, you were guaranteed to get that. That is a certain type of consistency that can be very hard to come by. Now, where do you think Tulo is on the all-time home run list for the Rockies? Because again, you think of the all-time greats, he's in the conversation, obviously, for Mount Rushmore. I think there's a couple guys that are ahead of him that you wouldn't say are in the conversation for Mount Rushmore, but they do have more home runs. So I don't know. Where do you think
I would assume he'd be bottom half of the top 10. I mean, is that too vague? I'd assume he's 7th or 8th or something.
You still pick two numbers, but I'll take your first one. 7th, you'd be correct. Okay. 188. Didn't get 200. I mean, that would have been nice. He would have been in elite company. I don't know if we could say 200 home runs is elite, but it is when you think of the modern game. And since '93, guys don't stick around. Guys don't play in one place the entirety of their career, other than my first pick, Todd Helton.
One record, yes, straight up 17 years. One record I know he's got for this team, and probably for most teams, is the most number of home runs hit over the shortest time span. Because in September of 2010, he hit 15 home runs in 15 games. And I believe Babe Ruth was the only person who had ever
She was good.
Bested that number. Yeah, she was good. Baby Ruth could really smash it. But yeah, when and again, and some of those, like, he's taking them off his shins, he's taking them off his eyes. If he could have just stayed on the field. I also love the way he power runs around the bases. Again, if you're here with us on the lives, like
he chugs. He's chugging a little.
He's like rarely takes a light jog around the bases. So tied a rookie record. His rookie season, Patrick. That's when he did it by hitting 24. With Ernie Banks' name, I think, has a little bit of merit in baseball history. So, yeah, you can say all you want about his injuries and all the other stuff, but that's right. That's correct.
Later
he hit 27.
Yeah, and he's still available here. I got 2 more picks, and I am really stuck. This would have been my spot for Galaraga. This is where I was hoping that he would fall, or Castilla. Either I get Galaraga or Castilla with my 3rd pick, and then 4th I would go with whoever was left. But you went and took him early because Tulo and Cargo, they're, I don't know. I like the older generation players, or the more
I did grab that generation, didn't I? Yeah. I sort of locked down that particular generation of Rockies fan with Cargo and Tulo there. I didn't really think of it like that, but yeah.
There are 2. I have 2 picks here, and there are 2 members of the Blake Street Bombers available. I got 2 picks, and there are 2 active members of the Rockies not selected who are still in the top 10. And I mentioned his name once before. Mike Hampton is still available. So I don't know.
Burnitz.
He's on my board.
AJ's going to get mad if neither of us drop Preston Wilson.
Preston Wilson, A little less with Jeremy Burnett, a lot more so with Willie Rosario. Those were guys I thought, man, I don't know how
Jeffrey
this is going
Hammond's
to
got
play out. I thought maybe I could go with one of those. There's another interesting guy that, again, he's not going to make the top 5, but I think he deserves some credit, and we'll talk about who didn't get mentioned when we're done. I just he jumps out as obvious, and this could be the guy that puts me over the top. This could be the guy that gets it done and wins my team. For anyone on the fence and not
I'm
sure,
worried now.
Is Drew's team better? Is Patrick's team better? I can't leave this guy out there, especially for you, and with either of my 2 picks. It's got to be Mr. Fist Pump, 6th all-time, 201 home runs, 20 at-bats per home run, Dante Bechet. I got to take it.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal pick. I was hoping maybe I could sneak him in late, and I thought about taking him there. Maybe instead of 2. That's good. It's a great pick. Especially because it's a heart pick. Rockies fans maybe have never fully loved anybody as much as they've loved Dante Bechet. It sounds weird to say. Like Charlie Blackman is sort of close, but it's a different thing now. Like modern fans are just generally more cynical, and fair enough. The Rockies have lost more, and you're more used to having lost. They don't sell out the ballpark every day, but back then, nobody cared about any of that. There wasn't 20 years of losing in the rearview mirror and no division titles. And it wasn't that every single time a player does something good and wins an award, the announcement on Twitter is just 20 people saying, fire the general manager, or the team sucks anywhere. It's like, that wasn't the way it was in 1999. The team had only existed for a little bit of the decade. They were selling out every single ball game. We were just excited to have it. They've been relatively competitive. And Dante Bechet, I felt like, was like not Dinger. Dinger was not the first mascot of the Colorado Rockies. Dante Bechet was the first mascot of the Colorado Rockies. He was the heart and soul of that team. He would everything from the sledgehammer playing when he came out, the big announcement of his name. The crowd would go absolutely 8 bananas, Patrick. And it was just like, I don't think anyone was confused that like Walker and Galaraga were better players. Like I think people knew that, but Dante Bechet was more loved, and he also, when he got locked in, could absolutely crush at baseball.
No, I love that sentiment because, you know, Bechet was there before Larry Walker was. Bechet opens up his field, and again, fans were already familiar with him, but talk about a first impression on this brand new building there at Coors Field. Was second in the MVP race there in '95. Had the mullet, so the dude was flowing. And I think, like you said, yeah, there were guys who were better than him, but he had your heart. Just like with Charlie Blackman, Nolan Arenado is better than Charlie Blackman.
Right.
But when people look back on this era, they might think about Charlie Blackman more, where Blackman's the heart and soul of the team. He's got both those.
The hair.
Coincidence? Maybe not, actually. Maybe not. Like I think you're right. It's part of that experience of like, yeah, hey, you know, we know who the best players are in the game, and we know this guy's over here at the Dodgers. Yankees are doing this, spending their money, buying some big free agents, but who's entertaining us? And Dante Bechet was that guy. And you know, you go and look at his wins above replacement, it's actually not very good because he had to play defense.
Sure.
He had to play defense, and that really sapped, I think, his numbers. But again, we didn't look at that. We didn't really look at that and care about that.
Nobody in 1997 cared if Dante Bechet was a quality left fielder. Not nobody. And like, yeah, man, he really was. And he was a joy to watch as much as, you know, some of these other guys the Rockies have had. We've talked about how they've always had star players. They haven't always had star personalities. And it's not to say, like, I love their personalities. Like, honestly, if I was a professional ball player, I'd probably be a little closer to the way Trevor and Charlie and Nolan are than the Dante Bechet style of doing it, right? But like Larry Walker wasn't like, he talked to the media, he'd be fun and he'd do whatever, but sometimes he wouldn't. He could be a little more introspective. Same thing with Todd Helton, right? But Dante Bechet was just the guy, and he was there, and everyone wanted to be here. He was the dude, like the coolest guy at the party, the guy everyone came to see, the guy if you were selling your girlfriend or your boyfriend on the Rockies, whoever, your significant other who wasn't into the sport in the 90s, if you're trying to make them a Rockies fan, you're selling them on Dante Bechet. It's a beautiful pick. And I hate you.
My man, thank you. I love you too. All right, there's one guy left that has a 40 home run season with the Rockies. There's 5 others that had 35 or more. One of them has had 2 35 plus home run seasons. And I'm caught out there. I'm taking this too seriously, Drew.
No, because there's one player I really don't want you to take.
I think I know who it is, but I think we've just missed each other this whole time. You think I'm going this way, I go that way, and well, look, here's who it's not going to be, because I looked at the numbers, and again, I looked at how many at-bats per home runs, right, and said, hey, there's a couple guys that, Ben Petrick, 22, or actually round up 23 at-bats per home run. That's worth something. Spilly's got a good career slugging percentage. He's at about 37 at-bats per home run. But did you know, Drew? Juan Pierre, 469 at-bats per home run. I had to know if he was in the conversation. He's nowhere near it. The only way he's getting on that field. The only way he's getting on the field if he is throwing batting practice. All right, so I just got to go with it.
Love it.
I'm going to regret it, especially if you take my second guy. Who are the fans going to pick? Who are the fans going to... This could go. All right, I got to do it. I think it might play out better on my roster. I think I can still win this. Trevor Story. Trevor. Yes. Trevor Story. Let's go. Got your guy.
That's fine.
Got your guy.
Damn it.
You can, because the guy who I have second is still. It's still.
There's an argument to be made here. I can maybe. Okay, all right. No, okay.
Look. You got Cargo and Tulo. You got some of the younger guys. You got some of the current generation. Yes, I got Arenado, but I gotta go with Trev, man. I gotta go with True Story. He's there. He's 10th. So he's 10th on the list, but he's climbing. I don't know if he's going to get as many as Galaraga, especially if he's done with the Rockies at this point.
10th on the
but again, we're talking about home run derby. We're talking about the ability to put the ball in play. And, man, Mr. 505, right? He hit it onto the concourse. He had 3 in one night. He's down on one knee. He's a home run derby guy. Trevor Story.
All right, I hate to sell your pick continuously here, but, of course, remember that this was going to be my pick. That's fine. I still think my team competes. In fact, I'm still going to take my team when we get to my final pick here in just a second. But I do have to say that I think that Trevor Story, after Andres Galaraga, might have the second most raw power, just natural, gifted strength. Cargo's in that conversation as well. Again, take a look at that exit velo stuff. But Cargo's always wiry. Remember, Cargo's not, being a thick boy, Galaraga. He's a little punt. Cargo's never a huge, maxed out dude. He created all of that power through the torque of his swing. But Trevor Story is a shockingly, surprisingly thick young man for somebody who's also very strong. He could be a top linebacker in the NFL. Or a safety with his level of athleticism. He's so strong. And of course, we see here the home run, that he hits falling on his butt. That, how strong you have to be swinging at a baseball that's cutting in on you, that's about to hit you, and you spin out, you fall down on your butt, and you still hit it onto the concourse. That's stupid raw athleticism.
He's crazy athletic. It's interesting because some of the best athletes in sport, right, are smaller guys. You think of a Lionel Messi or Diego Maradona, that lower center of gravity, how valuable that can be for coordination and just cutting through. And he just gets all those levers working. And he's not a short guy. He's He's like 6'1", 6'1".
6'1", 6'2",
He's right in
maybe.
between. He's right in between our two heights. I look up at him a little bit.
Right.
You're probably a little more eye to eye. Maybe he's down on you.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's all muscle. It's all baseball muscle too. That's the other thing. Much like Arenado is too. Where you go, whether he's carrying around a little extra weight or whether he drops a couple pounds, and you're just like he's got baseball muscle, but Story's got regular muscle too. That's the other thing.
It's
just
again
power.
not to make it whatever, folks, but you come to us for the inside information. And when you walk in the clubhouse and he knew exactly where I was going with this. I love it. When he's taking his shirt off after the game, you can't help but go, were you chiseled out of stone? How do you get your body to look like that? Mine doesn't look like that.
Although Drew, you're normally not allowed to walk in that area, you saw that. I can't really fault you for going there. You know what I mean? You wanted to sneak a peek, you did, and I'm actually jealous. So, you know what? I made a good pick. You got a good gander. No, yeah, he's a dude, man. He is an absolute dude. So I feel really good about that.
One hopped that baseball into the parking lot.
You went out there to try to track that ball down, didn't you?
Yeah, the security guard acted like I was CIA looking for secret explosive materials. He only confirmed that the ball landed in the parking lot and that he had it in his possession. He would not let me see the baseball. He would not tell me his name. He would not let me report in any way that I knew where the baseball had landed, other than to say it here to all of you because, well, I'm at my freedom and leisure to do so, Dan. But it was really funny that, he wasn't having any of it. I ran out there to try to find out where the ball landed about halfway into the players' parking lot out there. One hopped, and I'd never seen that before at Coors Field.
Unbelievable.
All right.
Yeah. It's an impossible feat to do during batting practice. You need the pitcher throwing the ball 95 in order to get that extra bit of exit velocity. You got your hat turned backwards. It is serious. Now, do you want me to recap the team so far?
Yeah. Let's go with it.
I think that's going to give you some good perspective, just in case you might need to zig instead of zag. So right now, my complete team: Todd Helton, Nolan Arenado, Vinny Castilla, Dante Bechet, Trevor Story. And Drew has one pick left. Currently his team in order is Andres Galaraga, Larry Walker. Oh no, Larry Walker. Carlos Gonzalez, Troy Tulowitzki. And you've got one pick left. Juan Pierre, Mike Hampton,
still on the
William
board.
Rosario,
Preston
Jeffrey
Wilson's
Hammonds,
still out there.
Jeff Cirillo. All on the board. Brad Hall.
Patrick, I'm torn between two players, and you haven't said either of their names. And it's
at all today?
No. Neither of us have said. Well, actually, that's not true. One of the names I don't believe has been said yet today at all, and I think it's the person that I'm going to pick.
Oh, that was my second pick. That was my guy. This
is difficult, and this is breaking my heart. This is straight up because I think we had this exact same debate when we were doing the all-time Colorado Rockies team. I think this is the same debate that we had when we were talking about who belonged as a starter or on the bench in the all-time Colorado Rockies outfield. I went with this person then. I think no, I can't even remember which way I went. I'm going to stop overthinking it. I'm going to pull a Band-Aid off of this. I'm taking Matt Holliday with the final pick. I'm taking Matt Holliday over Charlie Blackman, and my heart broke. My heart is broken.
Burks was my guy.
See, Burks, I like the idea of taking Burks, but again, I think that's more practical power. I'm going for raw power. I'm going for competition power here. Now, Holliday might have escaped some gazes because he didn't hit all of his home runs in Colorado. He's got time in St. Louis as well, obviously, and so he wasn't on the top Colorado list. However, during his time in Colorado, he could hit the ball out. And again, the contact rate, he wasn't always raw power, hit it super far every time or hit a ton of home runs every single year. But for me, Matt Holliday was a guy who could hit a ball in any quadrant of the plate out to any part of the field at any ballpark. Again, the raw power, but also the contact ability. He's basically straight up, like, and this is why this was so hard for me, he's basically a right-handed version of Charlie Blackman at the plate. When you look at their, like, how infrequently they strike out, how much contact they make, the power that sometimes is a whole lot of power if there's pitches to hit out, but if there aren't, they'll take the single the other way. And so maybe they only hit 33 to 35 home runs a year instead of the 40 that other guys are hitting. But still, raw power, big boy, big man, strong man power in a competition pop. And we've seen Charlie Blackman in a couple of home run derbies, and that might be what threw me off a little bit because he didn't do particularly well. And I just think Matt Holliday, if you're letting him hit homers, like, dude's just going to, again, play pepper with a concourse. I think Holliday there. Maybe I lost it with that pick. Maybe I won it. I don't know.
I love the
We'll
comp,
see what the
though.
voting audience thinks. Yeah.
I love the comp between, him and Charlie Blackman from each side. Obviously, I think that makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways. And yeah, I'm a little shocked. Still has good numbers, but again, it was a shortened career. Obviously, has some great memories from that 2007 season. Did hit 130 home runs. Story just passed him this past season, so he's 11th on the list. Average about 21 at bats per home run. Did have a season with 35 or more home runs. Hit 36 in 2007, that big year. Hit 34 the season before that. Was 25 in 2008. Came back at 38 years old, like you said. That man strength. Only hit 2 home runs and 53 at bats, but
one of them won a baseball game though.
Yeah, he hit a couple sac flies that were huge, and for some reason I'm not actually seeing that on his baseball reference page, but I know for a fact that he hit several of those in that season because again he's that dude in a major way. Yeah, that's almost controversial. I want to say that's your final pick.
Yeah, and I thought that was my one off the board pick that I was like, that people might not see this one coming because the big totals aren't there. But I feel that now that I've made it, Patrick, now that it's in, now that the commissioner has announced it, now that my team is set, I feel good about it. I feel right about it. Burks and Blackman are terrible, terrible omissions here. Just brutal that we've left those guys out. But I like my team.
I like my team. Yeah, Blackman, Burks, top 2 guys. Although Brad Hawpe actually did hit more home runs than Ellis Burks, but Burks did have a 40 home run season.
Again.
That's a big one. Now, a guy on my board that was an interesting pick, depending on where it went. Chris Iannetta has.
How dare you?
He's 15th. He's 15th. Most home runs, obviously, by a catcher. 80 career home runs with the Rockies. 23.4 at bats per home run. Not shabby at all. And in fact, in 2009, he was his best. 18 at bats per home run. Good for the 50th best single season. So you look at single seasons. Every time Todd Helton comes to bat, he's going to hit a home run. Every 15, 16 at bats in some of his prime years. Same thing with Walker, Castillo, Arenado, Gonzalez, all the guys we drafted. Chris Iannetta is actually on the list with those guys. That's pretty impressive. Preston Wilson has a season with 36 home runs, tied for 22nd most home runs in a single season. Even better than that, Jeremy Brunitz, 17th, tied 37 home runs. And, Ben Petrick, I said, Todd Holland, 28 Rockies home runs. Average with the Rockies, 17 at-bats per home run. That's a pretty darn good rate. That's a good.
Yeah.
That is a good average.
Jason Giambi, Justin Morneau.
Rosario was a guy I thought, again, maybe 21 for his career. 21 home runs. I'm working on a project right now, Drew, where I'm going back looking at Rookie of the Years, and I can't remember what year, but I'm going back and I'm seeing like Bryce Harper, Mike Trout. I'm guys that aren't that old, and I'm seeing, William Rosario, and I go, he's not even playing anymore. And his rookie season was 8-9 years ago. He's done. He's been done for years. It's baffling to think that he's not a big leaguer in any capacity and hasn't been for quite some time, because the dude could launch him.
It was great.
He could launch him. Garrett Atkins.
God, he could hit, but he could not catch. Yeah, Atkins.
Mark Reynolds, you did mention him. You mentioned him.
Reynolds put on a show in BP, man.
Ian Desmond, Corey Dickerson.
Desmond hits him far. Dickerson hits him far. Yeah.
Jay Payton had put together a nice little season.
AJ.
Here's the question.
AJ's mad at us for Preston Wilson, Jay Payton. Yeah.
He's very bummed. Who would you rather have going forward? Ryan McMahon? How about Ryan McMahon versus Charlie Blackman right now? In the next 2 seasons, who hits more home runs? Who would you rather have?
McMahon.
I would too.
I said it
too. Think about that one. We're doing this draft next year. We might be going
to McMahon, baby.
He's on the come up. Seth Smith is getting hated on. You're right, AJ, because I'm looking at my list. I'm looking at my list. He's 20th, and I skipped over him and Ian Stewart. They didn't even get a mention.
Oh, Stu. All right. I think we've now said the name of every Rockies power hitter in history. As soon as our graphics team is done. No, you got a few more?
Well, we've never mentioned number 17. So we mentioned now because AJ put us over, and I had to say Ian Stewart and Seth Smith. I'll even throw Ian Desmond. All right, I mentioned him, I think. He's 21st. Yeah. How about this? We didn't mention the guy with the 17th most amount of home runs. He had 61 with the Rockies. He was a shortstop, played a little second base, played a little third base.
Your rebate?
Played with Clint Hurdle. Played with Clint Hurdle in Pittsburgh. Also named Clint.
The other Clint got you. Mr. Barnes, okay.
That's right.
He can hit him out.
He's in the top 20, which I don't know if that's... Does that say more for Glenn Barmas, or does that say less about the Rockies? I'm not.
A little of both. I mean, he had a couple of good years. It is a little of both. Probably more bad about the Rockies. But hey, remember all the good stuff we said about the Rockies earlier. As soon as our graphics team is with the NBA draft, we're going to get on them to throw out some cool stuff with regards to these two teams. And you out there on social media can tell us who you think has won this draft, which team is going to hit more home runs invent a home run competition in your head and decide which one of these two teams wins. Of course, you got the team Lions, Helton, Arenado, Castilla, technically, Bechet, and Story. You got me with
not technically. It just is. It just is. My fat fingers got in the way.
Vinny Castilla, Bechet, and Trevor Story. Of course, you got my team. I got Walker. I got Cargo. I got Tulo. I love that I got Cargo and Tulo back there. I got Galaraga, and I got a little off the board, Matt Holliday. Flame me if you think I should have taken Charlie Blackman or Ellis Burks. Let us know who were the biggest omissions. Let us know who you think has the better team here. And follow us on social media to do that. At Drew Creasman, at Patrick Lyons, at DNVR_Rockies. You got to subscribe to the DNVR.com so you don't miss out on any of that written content. Plus, you get discounts on hats, shirts, masks. You get a bigger beer when you come on down to the DNVR bar. And you get to be a part of this amazing community doing all kinds of stuff all the time, including right now the NBA draft going on. Our guys are live covering that. I'm going to go join that program just by watching it and learning who the Nuggets are going to take all the fantastic stuff that they got going on there. It really is going to be a fun time. So make sure, again, that you're just subscribed to everything. You're hanging out with everybody. You keep following us. You do the YouTube channel stuff, and you keep being absolutely awesome out there. We will keep being absolutely Patrick Lyons and Drew Creasman in here. And until next time, we will see you at the ballpark.